And what's going on, guys? I'm bringing you guys an episode of Siege, Tom Clancy's Siege. This is competitive gameplay. I am currently unranked. My last ranking was it gold or silver? It was one or the other. I don't know if there was silver, but I originally ranked into bronze, but when the season actually ended, I think I was gold 3 or something like that. But anyways, we have a few topics to go over today, and the first topic is G Fuel. Now, I know that a lot of people enjoy G Fuel, and I love G Fuel myself. I've ordered a few, and I personally have ordered only the Tropical Rain, which is TheSavageRain's flavor. So far, so good with that, but I've wanted to branch out to a few new flavors, such as Blue Ice, Kiwi, Strawberry, are the main ones that come to mind that I want to branch out to. Now, I wanted to go ahead and make a semi-thorough review, honest review from a customer standpoint, and not to do anything like FaZe, who are obviously sponsored and they kind of are paid to say the good things about it. And I've done some YouTube research, and I've seen what people are saying about G Fuel from a customer standpoint. There's not that many honest reviews out there. There are quite a few. There are a few, but there's not. There's not that many, considering how many videos are actually on there for G Fuel, in terms of reviews at least. So I wanted to go ahead and make one. The second topic, before we get into that though, we're going to go over the second topic, and the second topic is going to be my thoughts and opinions on 1070s and SLI, and why I would recommend upgrading to a 1070 or 1080, and what the benefits of SLI would be. Plus, I have a 1070, and what I can tell you guys what frame rate was, because I've been talking to a few of my friends, and a few guys I've actually just met at random in games, such as like Siege and CSGO, have told me that they want to upgrade to 1070s, but they're not sure if it would be worth it. So I figured that anyone that might watch this video might be considering upgrading. You can watch this, and I'll tell you the frame rate I get. Now, remember, keep in mind that the frame rate I get isn't going to be the exact frame rate you get. Just because I get a certain frame rate doesn't mean you'll get it, because it's a whole combination of your builds. It's the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM, the RAM's frequency, which is its operating speed, the hard drive's operating speed. All these things have contributing factors. Even as much as threads as you have in your CPU. If it's an i5 or it's an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of VRAM, which is video RAM or video card RAM. A good motherboard compared to a bad motherboard, because all these things are very contributing, and the power supply isn't going to have that big of effect. It's not really going to have an effect at all, but those other things do have a contributing factor on the way your computer operates as a whole. So first, to start out, I'm going to go over the G Fuel, and to go over, I'm going to put it up in a nutshell: the pros, the cons, and then lastly, if I would recommend it. Now, we'll start with the bad, which is the cons. The cons are the price. I think it's $35 plus tax, which I think I paid like $43 or something with tax, but they give you USPS first priority or priority shipping, which is basically like you get yours sooner. The other con is that I feel like it takes almost a week, because they don't mass produce it, which is a great thing. It means it's all done very well, and it's not just run through machines and processed and all that other crappy stuff. So it might be mass produced, but they do take time to process it and look through your order and review everything. I don't know if it's mass processed. I don't think it is, but it might be, so don't quote me on that. But that, other than, because when I ordered it, I think it took 3 days for me to actually, or it was like 5 days, or almost, it was like 5 days, I think, for it even shipped. And then once it shipped, it was another 2 to 3, which the shipping isn't bad. 2 to 3 is pretty quick, considering it came all the way, I think, from New York, and I'm all the way in the West Coast, so I had to go, diagonally across the United States. So, taking that into consideration, it wasn't that bad. I think I waited a week in total to get my G Fuel, which they did send out notice that there was processing delay due to an overabundance of orders, because they had a Tropical Rain sale, and I know that that's their biggest sale, or that's their most selling item. That's really the only cons I have. The pros are going to be the flavor. The Tropical Rain, which is I have, tastes like a raspberry cotton candy. If I had to put it like that, that would probably be the closest I can get. The naturalness, it does give me an increased amount of focus and endurance, or energy, not endurance. But it's not like a monster where you'll get a whole bunch of energy for 2 hours and then you'll just crash. I do get energy. It slowly goes off. It's not something I haven't, at least maybe it's just me, but I haven't got energy for all day. I drink one typically right around an hour after I wake up, and then I will typically be focused and energized up until a few hours before I go to sleep, and that's when I can feel it start to kind of die off, and I start getting a little drowsy. But that's just because I don't typically get much sleep during the night. Typically, I'm just what they call the sleepless elite, which means that we basically get 2 to 4 hours of sleep when we still function, we still go out the day as normal people. I am groggy some days, which basically means I'm not quite awake, like fully. It's kind of like being woken up, you know, early, you know, and you got to go to school, and your mom's like, hey, get up, let's go, you know, and then you're right when you wake up, you kind of look at them like, oh, that's kind of like a grogginess. You're not fully awake, but other than that, I function well. I go to work and I work and everything, so that's I get through the day, and that's all that matters to me. But second topic is going to be the 1070s. And the 1070s, now like I said, the 1070s are a big topic for me. I own a 1070. I own the EVGA 1070 for the Win Edition, which is Newegg's specific 1070. It's their make or whatever of it. So basically, I have the 1070 for the Win, and I have always used EVGA cards. They're the most reliable cards in my opinion. I don't think I'll ever change video cards, and that's just because I love EVGA. I've never had problems with them. I've never had issues. I've never had defective parts. Never had driver issues. Nothing like that. Which driver issues isn't obviously on the video card, but beside the point. 1070s. I've tried all sorts of cars. I've tried the 750 Ti. Recently, I've tried the 960. I've tried the 970. I haven't tried the 980 or the 980 Ti, but I've tried those, and I've tried the 1070. I've tried the 1080 for a brief time. My friend had it. I mean, I didn't really own it or try it for that long. And the 1070s and the 1080s are just unquestionable. Like, once you can afford to upgrade, they're just something that you just never regret the decision to upgrade. They're not more expensive than a 970 or 980 was before the 1000s came out. I think they're the exact same price, so you're not really losing money. If you were just to buy 980 Ti back then, it's just basically the same thing. The performance is so much better. I think it was equivalent. One 1070 I think was equivalent to like 1.2 times better than a 980 Ti, and a 1080 was just And then on top of that, they also have the new Titan Blacks coming out, which are just going to be the Titan Blacks, so they're not renaming it or anything, which is kind of stupid, but it's just a revamped up version. Basically, I would recommend upgrading. The FPS I get in games such as Siege, I get Siege on Ultra maxed out settings with Ultra HD textures, which is a DLC you can get for free on PC if you play on PC for Siege. It basically just makes the game Ultra HD, which is like 1440p without it being 1440p. Basically, it just looks a lot better than normal HD, Ultra HD. Hence, but basically, I get it roughly anywhere from 160 to 180 typical on average. Right now, my CPU and GPU are being a little bottle capped because I do not have a hard drive. I'm using like a 256 gigabyte hard drive, and I only have about 80 gigs of space before all my games are installed. So I gotta pick up, and I don't know for sure if my SSD is bottle capping it, but I do think it is, because when I download games and all that stuff, it's almost unplayable. So I gotta get a new hard drive, a backup storage drive, and then I think I'll see a performance boost. But on stuff like, I've tried GTA, I've gotten well over 100 frames, 1080p maxed out settings. What other games have I tried? I've tried CSGO, I get almost 400 frame. League of Legends, I get like 500 frames. Squad on maxed out settings, I get like 80 to 90 frames, which squad is really hard to run. On Ark Survival Evolved, I max on epic settings. I get about 40 to 60, roughly, without any FPS improvements. I get about 60 frames. Other games include DayZ. I get about 150 at maxed out settings. Arma 3 on the new Tanoa map, which is the hardest map to run right now. On maxed out settings, I get about 60, 50 to 40 to 60, depending on the server and depending on the amount of clutter and people on the server, because the more clutter on the map, the more people, the more bodies, the more clutter, and so on. The more, the more lag. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's been your boy Savage, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Girls tell me I'm an ass, I'm a bit rude. If that's true, then that means that I'm the shit too. Loving how I spit raw, sick enough to spit flues. Homie, I'm a big dog, never been a shih tzu. See, I've never